Projected 25% reduction in unemployment rates across retail, tourism, and construction by Q1 2027. Date: January 24, 2025. Executive Summary. The projected reduction in unemployment rates by 25% across the retail, tourism, and construction sectors by Q1 2027 is underpinned by comprehensive analyses from the World Travel and Tourism Council WTTC and Oxford Economics. The anticipated economic recovery and growth in these industries suggest a significant rebound, particularly in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. The interconnectedness of these sectors indicates a holistic approach to job creation and economic revitalization. Key findings. 1. Tourism sector recovery. The WTTC reports a resilient recovery trajectory for the travel and tourism sector, which is expected to contribute 9.1% to global GDP in 2023, reflecting a 23.2% increase from the previous year. In 2023, the sector generated 27 million new jobs, marking a 9.1% increase from 2022. By 2024, forecasts indicate an economic contribution reaching $11.1 trillion and the potential to support approximately 348 million jobs globally, an increase of 13.6 million jobs from pre-pandemic levels. 2. Retail and construction interdependencies. Growth in tourism is directly correlated with increased consumer spending in retail and heightened activity in the construction sector. Infrastructure developments, such as hotels and resorts, are anticipated to flourish, driven by the tourism boom. The resurgence in tourism spending, both domestic and international, is expected to bolster retail sales significantly, further supporting the construction sector as demand for hospitality and related infrastructure rises. 3. Data trends. Domestic visitor spending surged by 18.1% in 2023, demonstrating robust consumer confidence. International visitor spending saw a 33.1% increase, albeit still below pre-pandemic levels, indicating substantial room for growth. Timeline of events. 2019, the travel and tourism sector accounted for 10.5% of global jobs and 10.4% of GDP. With international visitor spending reaching $1.91 trillion. 2020 to 2021, the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic resulted in severe job losses and economic downturns across all three sectors. 2022, a gradual recovery began with modest job growth and spending increases. 2023, the tourism sector rebounded significantly, adding 27 million jobs and contributing 9.1% to global GDP. Q1 2024, expectations for record-breaking economic contributions from tourism are set to materialize. Q1 2027, a complete 25% reduction in unemployment rates across retail, tourism, and construction sectors is anticipated. Interconnectedness of sectors. The demand for new hotels and infrastructure projects leads to a surge in construction activities. This cyclical relationship is essential in understanding how job creation can be maximized across sectors. Regional variances and considerations. The reports from WTTC and Oxford Economics indicate that while the overall trend is positive, specific regions may experience varying recovery rates based on local economic conditions, government policies, and infrastructural readiness. For instance, areas heavily reliant on international tourism may see a slower recovery compared to regions with strong domestic tourism markets. Conclusion. The projected 25% reduction in unemployment across the retail, tourism, and construction sectors is primarily driven by the recovery and growth of the travel and tourism industry. This surge is not only critical for the rejuvenation of jobs but also for revitalizing economies on a global scale. As these sectors interlink, the momentum gained from tourism can serve as a powerful catalyst for overall economic recovery, showcasing the importance of strategic investments and supportive policies in fostering resilience and growth. References. 1. World Travel and Tourism Council WTTC Economic Impact Reports. 2. Oxford Economics Analyses on Sector Interdependencies and Employment Forecasts. 3. Historical data on global tourism trends and recovery metrics. This comprehensive overview reflects the anticipated economic landscape as we move towards Q1 2027, underscoring the potential reduction in unemployment rates attributed to the resurgence of critical economic sectors. The content presents a projected reduction in unemployment rates by 25% across the retail, tourism, and construction sectors by Q1 2027. This forecast is largely driven by a resurgence in the tourism industry, which is expected to significantly contribute to economic recovery following the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. Counterintuitive information. 1. Sector interdependence. It may seem intuitive to view sectors like tourism, retail, and construction as distinct and independent. However, the data suggests a counterintuitive interconnectedness among these sectors. The recovery in tourism not only leads to job creation within that sector but also stimulates growth in retail and construction. Increased consumer spending driven by tourism actually catalyzes hiring in retail and prompts construction for new infrastructure and hospitality services, challenging the notion that these sectors operate in isolation. 2. Domestic versus international spending. The data shows that domestic visitor spending rose by 18.1% in 2023, while international spending increased by 33.1% but remained below pre-pandemic levels. This indicates that the recovery of the tourism sector is not solely dependent on international visitors, which is counterintuitive given the previous global emphasis on international tourism as a primary revenue source. The strong recovery in domestic tourism reveals a shift in consumer behavior and economic resilience that could have lasting implications for how tourism strategies are formulated. 3. Job growth versus economic contribution. While one might expect that job growth in tourism would correlate closely with economic contributions, the report highlights that even with significant job creation, 27 million jobs added in 2023, the sector's contribution to global GDP 9.1% still lags behind pre-pandemic levels. This suggests that job growth does not always equate to proportional economic contributions, which is a counterintuitive insight for policymakers focused on employment metrics alone. For positive predictions amid challenges, the optimistic projections for the tourism sector's contribution to GDP reaching an all-time high of $11.1 trillion by 2024 may seem overly optimistic given the challenges faced during the pandemic. Historically, the recovery from such downturns is often slow and fraught with setbacks. However, the rapid rebound in confidence expressed by industry leaders present a surprisingly positive outlook that contrasts with past recovery models. 5. Global versus regional variations. The differences in recovery rates based on geographic and economic conditions highlight a counterintuitive reality. Not all regions will benefit equally from the anticipated recovery in tourism. This suggests that while global trends indicate an overall positive trajectory, local economies may experience stark contrasts, emphasizing the need for tailored economic strategies rather than a one-size-fits-all approach. 6. Perception of recovery speed. The timeline indicates a swift recovery with substantial job gains in a short period following a major economic downturn. This challenges the common belief that such recoveries take years, suggesting a resilience in the tourism and related sectors that may not have been anticipated. The findings may prompt a re-evaluation of recovery timelines in economic forecasting. These counterintuitive insights challenge conventional wisdom about economic recovery, sector independence, and the relationship between job creation and economic growth, suggesting a need for revised strategies and policies in light of these emerging trends. The projected 25% reduction in unemployment rates across the retail, tourism, and construction sectors by Q1 2027 is a significant economic forecast that encapsulates a broader narrative of recovery and growth in these industries. While many may focus on the headline figures of job creation and economic contributions, several nuanced aspects of the report merit closer examination. Here we will explore these overlooked elements and their significance. 1. Interconnectedness of sectors. Significance. The report illustrates the vital connections between tourism, retail, and construction. This interconnectedness indicates that a resurgence in tourism not only creates jobs within that sector but also stimulates demand in retail and construction. For instance, as tourism increases, so does the need for retail services to cater to tourists and locals alike. Likewise, construction sees a boost through the development of hotels and infrastructure to support increased visitor numbers. Overlooked insight. Many readers may fail to appreciate how job creation in one sector can create a ripple effect across others. This interconnected growth suggests that policymakers should consider holistic strategies that recognize these relationships. For example, investing in tourism infrastructure can have far-reaching benefits beyond just the tourism sector. 2. Domestic versus international visitor spending. Significance. The data shows that domestic visitor spending rose by 18.1% in 2023 while international spending increased by 33.1% but remained below pre-pandemic levels. This indicates a robust recovery in domestic tourism, which might be overshadowed by the more dramatic international spending figures. Overlooked insight. The focus on international tourism often leads to neglect of domestic markets, which can be equally pivotal in driving economic recovery. The sustained growth in domestic spending underscores the importance of fostering local tourism initiatives and supporting regional attractions. This is particularly relevant for countries that may face prolonged restrictions or slow recoveries in international travel. 3. Regional disparities in recovery. Significance. The report hints at potential regional disparities in recovery rates based on geographic and economic conditions. While global figures present a rosy picture, the actual conditions may vary significantly between regions. Overlooked insight. Understanding that recovery is not uniform is crucial for targeted economic policies. Regions heavily reliant on tourism might face different challenges compared to those with diversified economies. Policymakers should account for these disparities when designing recovery measures, ensuring that support reaches the areas that need it most rather than applying a one-size-fits-all approach. 4. Impact of consumer confidence. Significance. The increase in domestic visitor spending is indicative of rising consumer confidence, a critical driver for economic recovery in tourism and retail. Overlooked insight. The psychological aspect of consumer behavior is often underestimated. Understanding the factors that bolster consumer confidence, such as improved health safety measures or economic stability, can help businesses and governments promote recovery strategies that reinforce this confidence, thus leading to sustained growth. 5. Long-term economic contribution of tourism. Significance. The expectation that the tourism sector will reach an all-time high economic contribution of $11.1 trillion in 2024 is notable. This projection underscores the sector's potential as a pillar of global economic recovery. Overlooked insight. Many may overlook the long-term implications of this growth, including the need for sustainable practices within the tourism sector. An unchecked tourism boom could lead to environmental degradation and social issues, necessitating a balance between growth and sustainability. 6. Role of policy in economic recovery. Significance. The report emphasizes the role of policymakers in supporting the recovery of these sectors through investment and strategic planning. Overlooked insight. The importance of proactive policy measures cannot be overstated. The success of the projected recovery hinges on effective policies that support infrastructure development, workforce training, and sustainable practices. Policymakers must also be agile, adapting to changing circumstances in the global economy, such as potential pandemics or geopolitical tensions that could impact travel. 7. Technological adaptation and innovation. Significance. The tourism sector's recovery is likely to be influenced by technological advancements such as digital solutions for travel planning and enhanced safety measures. Overlooked insight: the ability of the tourism, retail, and construction sectors to innovate in response to changing consumer preferences and safety concerns will be crucial for their long-term viability. Readers may overlook the importance of technology in facilitating this recovery and how investments in tech can enhance customer experience and operational efficiency. 8. Emphasis on sustainability. Significance: the WTTC also highlights the importance of sustainability in tourism and its contribution to long-term economic resilience. Overlooked insight: many might miss the call for sustainable tourism practices amid the focus on immediate economic recovery. The integration of sustainability into tourism strategies can not only attract eco-conscious travelers but also ensure the preservation of resources for future generations, aligning economic growth with environmental stewardship. Conclusion: the projected 25% reduction in unemployment rates across retail, tourism, and construction sectors by Q1 2027 is a promising outlook, yet it encompasses much more than surface-level statistics. The interconnectedness, the dynamics of consumer spending, regional recovery disparities, and the necessity for sustainable practices are critical themes that require attention. By understanding and addressing these nuances, stakeholders can better navigate the complexities of economic recovery and lay a solid foundation for future growth. 1. Projected economic growth in tourism. The travel and tourism sector is anticipated to experience significant growth, with projections indicating a contribution of $11.1 trillion to the global GDP by 2024. This rebound is expected to support nearly 348 million jobs globally, underscoring the sector's critical role in job creation and economic recovery following the COVID-19 pandemic. The substantial increase in both domestic 18.1% and international 33.1% visitor spending in 2023 further highlights the sector's resurgence and the potential for continued job growth. 2. Interconnectedness of sectors. The relationship between tourism, retail, and construction is crucial for understanding the overall economic recovery. Growth in the tourism sector is expected to drive consumer spending in retail and stimulate construction activities such as the development of hotels and infrastructure. This interconnectedness illustrates how enhancements in one sector can lead to job creation and economic benefits in others, creating a ripple effect that supports overall employment reduction across all three sectors. 3. Timeline of recovery. The timeline detailing the recovery of the tourism sector post-COVID provides a clear picture of the sector's trajectory. From a significant downturn in 2020 to 2021 to a marked rebound in 2023 with the addition of 27 million jobs, the timeline emphasizes the rapid pace of recovery. By Q1 2027, a projected 25% reduction in unemployment rates across tourism, retail, and construction sectors highlights the positive outlook and anticipated stabilization of employment levels. For regional variances in recovery rates, while the overall projections are optimistic, there is an acknowledgement that recovery rates may vary by region and country. Source 2 provides a more segmented view of tourism's impact across different geographic areas, suggesting that local economic conditions, government policies, and market readiness will influence the speed and extent of recovery. Understanding these variances is essential for targeted policymaking and investment strategies to maximize job creation and economic growth across diverse regions. 1. The Great Depression 1929 to 1939. The Great Depression was a severe worldwide economic depression that took place mostly during the 1930s. It originated in the United States after a major fall in stock prices that began in late 1929. This economic downturn led to unprecedented levels of unemployment, with rates soaring to around 25% in the U.S. and similar levels in other countries. Recovery efforts included the New Deal, a series of programs and reforms implemented by President Franklin D. Roosevelt aimed at reviving the economy, which included job creation in sectors like construction and public works. The interconnectedness of various sectors during this period illustrated how economic recovery in one area could influence others. 2. Post-World War II economic boom 1945-1960s. Following World War II, many countries experienced significant economic growth, particularly in the United States and Western Europe, leading to a substantial decrease in unemployment rates. The war had led to increased production capacities and innovations in technology, which fueled growth in various sectors, including manufacturing, construction, and retail. The GI Bill in the U.S. facilitated education and home ownership for returning soldiers, contributing to a booming consumer market. This period exemplified how recovery from a catastrophic event can lead to a robust economic expansion with rising employment levels across multiple sectors. 3. The recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. 2020 present. The COVID-19 pandemic caused massive job losses across various sectors globally, with tourism, retail, and construction being among the hardest hit. However, as vaccination rates increased and restrictions were lifted, many economies began to recover. For instance, in 2023, the travel and tourism sector saw significant rebounds, with millions of jobs being added back. Governments and organizations implemented stimulus packages and support measures to aid recovery, paralleling the interconnectedness seen in historical economic recoveries. By projecting a 25% reduction in unemployment rates across retail, tourism, and construction by 2027, the current scenario mirrors past recoveries, highlighting the importance of sector interdependence in economic revitalization. The projected 25% reduction in unemployment rates across the retail, tourism, and construction sectors by Q1 2027 signifies a significant turnaround in global economic dynamics. This outlook is deeply rooted in the optimistic recovery trajectory of the travel and tourism industry, which has been bolstered by robust data and analyses from organizations like the World Travel and Tourism Council (WTTC) and Oxford Economics. Future predictions. 1. Tourism sector resurgence. By 2027, the tourism sector is expected to have fully recovered and potentially surpassed its pre-pandemic contributions to the global economy. With the forecasted contribution to GDP reaching an all-time high of $11.1 trillion, tourism will likely play a pivotal role in job creation, supporting nearly 348 million jobs globally. This represents an increase of approximately 13.6 million jobs compared to the pre-pandemic record in 2019. The rebound will be driven by both domestic and international travel, with domestic visitor spending likely to maintain its upward trajectory. 2. Retail sector growth. The recovery in tourism will catalyze growth in the retail sector, which is closely linked to consumer spending patterns influenced by travel. Increased tourist arrivals will lead to higher sales in retail outlets, particularly in hospitality-related segments like dining and leisure. By 2027, we can expect a revitalized retail environment, with job growth expected as businesses expand to meet rising consumer demand. 3. Construction boom. The construction sector, particularly in areas related to tourism infrastructure, is projected to benefit significantly from the uptick in travel. Investments in hotels, transportation, and leisure facilities are anticipated to surge as demand grows. This will not only create jobs directly in construction but also indirectly within the supply chain. The construction industry will likely see a substantial reduction in unemployment as projects ramp up in response to increased tourism activity. 4. Technological integration. The integration of technology in all three sectors will drive efficiency and create new job opportunities. In tourism, advancements in travel technologies such as AI-driven customer service and smart travel solutions will reshape the landscape. Retail will continue to evolve, with e-commerce and omni-channel strategies requiring a workforce that is adept in digital platforms. The construction sector will increasingly adopt smart building technologies, enhancing productivity and sustainability. 5. Global economic interdependencies. As the interconnectedness of global economies strengthens, regions that rely heavily on tourism will see faster recoveries. Areas that have diversified their tourism offerings, such as ecotourism, adventure travel, and cultural experiences, will likely attract a broader audience, further stimulating job creation. Countries that effectively manage the balance between tourism and sustainability will enjoy long-term benefits. Ensuring economic growth without compromising environmental integrity. 6. Labor market transformation. The anticipated reduction in unemployment rates will also signal a transformation in the labor market. Workers will increasingly require skills that align with emerging technologies and customer service expectations. Training and upskilling initiatives will become essential as industries adapt to new norms and consumer preferences. Collaborative efforts between governments and industries will be crucial in developing training programs that prepare the workforce for future demands. 7. Regional variances. While the overall trend points to growth, regional differences in recovery will persist. Areas heavily reliant on international tourism may take longer to recover compared to those with strong domestic tourism markets. Economic policies, health regulations, and geopolitical factors will also influence how quickly regions can reduce unemployment rates across these sectors. Conclusion. The future outlook for the retail, tourism, and construction sectors is promising. With a projected 25% reduction in unemployment rates by Q1 2027. This optimistic scenario is underpinned by a robust recovery in the tourism industry, increased consumer spending, and significant investments in infrastructure. As the global economy continues to rebound, the interconnectedness of these sectors will play a crucial role in sustaining job creation and fostering economic resilience. Through technological advancements and a focus on workforce development, these industries are poised for a transformative period that will benefit economies worldwide.